A goal in your life? Do you have a goal of where you eventually want to get to? I'm talking not about work, I'm not even talking about ambition, I'm talking about how to engage yourself in spiritual practice and even move beyond this material body. And that's the question I have from you is, what goal do you have and why do you do certain practices? You see, I'm reading Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 6, verse 32 today. And Narada Muni is explaining to Vasudeva about transcending all the different material spheres and ultimately the spiritual spheres beyond that. What I'm talking about is, whilst I am in the material body, like I am today, as a devotee, then there's an opportunity for me to enter into other parts of the universe in future lives. You see, I'm just a humbling servant who's just trying and endeavouring to live the Srimad Bhagavatam and to live a life of Krishna consciousness, serving the Lord. But I make offences. I, what you call, make mistakes, although I don't call them mistakes, I just call them lessons. And therefore, I'm not sure if I can equate to actually, at the end of this specific life, being at a point where the Lord's going to actually zone around to me and say, you're ready to get into that spiritual realm, get into the rocket, you're coming with me. I can't actually imagine that at the moment. And I don't make it my objective or my goal. My objective and my goal is actually, how can I serve the Lord? And similarly, how can I serve the devotees? And if I make that the focus of life in the moment, the here and now, and in future moments in time, then maybe I'll get to the point where the Lord thinks I might be ready, or I can move up to a higher planet within the material spheres. But at the same time, the Lord is saying, for those who are fruitive workers, all they're interested in earning money, and those who are philosophical speculators, and those who do things that's not necessarily good for society, will get stuck in this in the sphere where they are at the moment. Not only get stuck, there's a possibility they'll go downwards. And what do I mean by that? I mean, like, for instance, if someone is a butcher killing animals, the likelihood is they might go down to the animal kingdom or the more hellish planets. I wanted to explain a little bit more because I'm beginning for the first time ever to understand a little bit more how the system works. Coming up next. What am I beginning to understand? I'm beginning to understand, okay, and it's a little bit like how karma works. As good as I am is as good as you get. As nice as I am, as nice as you get. As caring as a person as I am, then the Lord looks after us even more. But he also says that we have to take responsibility for our actions. You see, the one thing he gave us in life, and that is free will. And he'll never take free will away from us, but with free will, it means that we choose to walk a path which may not be the path that he's got recommended for us. And therefore, we sometimes make some serious mistakes in respect to some of the decisions of our actions, our thoughts, our feelings, our words that we do in our day-to-day life. So, for instance, I was saying before, like, if we slaughter animals, it's quite possible the Lord is going to say, look, this is a total disrespect to this planet, this is disrespect to the animal world, let alone the human moralities, and therefore you might have to go down the ladder and end up becoming an animal yourself, or just be in the hellish planets, so that we learn. You see, every direction we go, whether we stay in the same sphere, we go up into upper sphere or lower sphere, it's not actually punishment, it's actually lessons. But in order to learn lessons, sometimes we have to be put into situations to learn the lessons. So maybe if we slaughter animals, it's not a punishment that we become an animal. Maybe we need to learn what it's like to live in the body of an animal and feel the risk of living as an animal. I mean, animals have to worry. They have to worry about whether they're going to get slaughtered. I mean, if I'm a cow or I'm another animal that people like to eat, for instance, then I've got to live a life thinking that I'm going to get butchered. Well, what a life is that for the animal? I'm also going to be herded up into these very commercialized environments where I've got nowhere to roam. I'm force-fed, I'm force-milked, and all these different environments that an animal has to live in. Maybe our way of learning is to be put into the animal world to understand what it's like to be an animal, and maybe if the Lord gives us an opportunity to transcend up again into the human life form, then we maybe make certain decisions which are for the benefit of animals rather than that just slaughters and harms them. Does this start to make sense for you? So I think it's really, really important to understand, and I want to explain a little bit more, because certain decisions we make in our life have a major effect on what is next going to happen in our life. In the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says to us, look, if you want to kill or eat animal, then we have to accept that this is life in the mode of ignorance and mode of passion. Ignorance as far as killing, and passion because we like to eat it, we want it, we need it. But do we? Do we feel it's right? I mean, most of you, when you eat meat, you have got absolutely no idea what it means to slaughter an animal. I was living in Europe a while back, and there were hunters, and I thought, oh my God, there's hunters, they're so bad. Actually, for a moment in time, I had a bit of respect for them. I wasn't living in Krishna consciousness at the time, but I had a bit of respect for them, and the reason why I had a bit of respect for them is they had the strength and the courage to go out and kill the animal. But you and most other people who eat animal just go to the local supermarket or to the restaurant and it's served for you, or it's already packaged for you. You don't have to think about how to kill the animal, how to slaughter, how to cut it up, how to drain all the blood and all the other bits and pieces that need to be taken away from the animal which aren't edible. It's all done for you. But I question you, if you had to go into the forest and actually kill that animal, if you had to then drag the animal away whilst it's still suffering, and then you have to cut it open, and then you have to drain it all and skin it all and take all its guts out and all its stomach out, would you still eat animal? I wonder that. I question you. And this is what the Lord is saying to us. This is going into a bit more detail than we should be in this verse, but I just wanted to explain to you, this is how it works about us transcending or descending in the material and the spiritual spheres. So if we are doing good to mankind, we're making the Lord the center of our life, then the Lord says, okay, here is your opportunity to either stay at the same level if you've still got lessons to learn, or to move up. But we will move down if we don't make our purpose in life something that's good in respect to social society and for serving the Lord. And it's the same thing if we're a fruitive worker and all we're interested in is earning money for ourselves, and just look after ourselves and just buy, replace, and get lost in it, then it's quite possible that the Lord's going to say, you don't deserve the life you've got at the moment. Maybe you need to go down a little bit lower and appreciate those people who've got very little. Maybe you have to live in poverty as part of your next life. Interesting thought. Next part coming up. If the Lord thinks that we are being greedy and being selfish and just looking after ourselves, then maybe he will take us down to a lower part of the material sphere and we become someone who is poverty stricken. Maybe we have to be a homeless person. Maybe we have to live in a metal hut in a village in India or Africa where they don't have the absolute basics or less than basics. Maybe we've got to value what other people who've got less than us have in order for us to appreciate, actually, we need to have better values in life. We need to be more selfless rather than being selfish. Maybe we need to be more giving and helping rather than just collecting and hoarding for ourselves. And all this hoarding of money and possessions, we forget at the end of this life, we can't take it with us. Of course we can give it away to other people like our family, but actually what we need to do is actually to remind ourselves that our purpose in life isn't just about serving ourselves. And whilst we as fruitive workers still think that life is just looking after ourselves and our family, and that is our objective and only objective in life, then it's quite possible that the Lord is going to limit us as how we move forward, or take us down a level to have better values and appreciation. And this is key. So I ask you yourself is, are you aware of what your life is about? Do you realize that there is a consequence? It's what we call karma. And karma is one of our teachers in life. And it's really, really, really important. You see, I always say to people, as some people say to me, well, I need to work, I need to earn money. Okay, the Lord says you need to earn your money, you need to look after your family, no problem at all. But with the skills that you've got, in addition to doing your paid job, can you possibly do a job that's socially aware? It's for charity. For instance, you're in the financial market. Could you go into a village and help them to sort out some money, to raise some money, so that they can have some basics, so they can buy seeds? Maybe they can buy a new roof for their home. Can you give some guidance in that respect? If you're a doctor, maybe you can go into a village or to poor people and give some advice on medicine and healthcare. Maybe if you're a teacher, maybe you can go into a village where there's illiterate people and teach people how to read. There are lots of little skills that's going to make us move forward in our life. And this is exactly the other aspect to what we can be doing as living in the material world and supporting our family. So, you're getting the gist of what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say is we are responsible for our actions. In our next part, I'll explain a little bit more where we go next. We are responsible for our actions. Here is the opportunity to decide, okay, am I going to live in the world of ignorance and forget about everyone else and just look after myself? Am I going to get caught up in the mode of passion where I just do everything just for the luxuries and the niceties of life? Or am I going to start to do things that is in the mode of goodness, which is caring for society as a whole, as well as looking after my family? And that also includes, naturally, our love for the Lord. And I want to come to this now. Everything that's in our lives, everything that's happening in our lives is in response to what the Lord has arranged. And this is the whole thing about karma. In our past lives, we have our karma from our activities that we did. And not only do we have our karma, we have our desires. And they're the ones that influence what happens next in the arrangements the Lord makes us when he gives us a new material body. So we go from life after life, go from one material body to the next material, going through a lot of pain and suffering. But hopefully we can start to learn. And if we start to learn, just like at university, if you start to learn the subject, you become more proficient in it. You understand more about why you're studying and what you can do with it. Well, this is the same thing. I call this Lord Krishna's University of Life. Inside us, Lord Krishna is trying to guide us. He witnesses everything that's going on in our lives, and he's just trying to teach us how we can become a better version of ourselves. And if we become this better version of ourselves by making the Lord the center of our lives, he will guide us forward so that maybe we can continue this upward path until maybe at a certain moment in time we're ready for him to enter us into the spiritual sphere. And the beautiful about entering into the spiritual sphere is that not only do we have an immortal soul, we then have an immortal life in totality. At the moment, we're just immortal souls going from one body to the next body, which is mortal. So, these are the options the Lord has given us. He's given us all this free will to decide on what we would like to do and how we would like to do it. But he does make it very, very, very clear, and it's very, very simple. And Srila Prabhupada makes it very simple, because he says actually what the whole progress of transcendence to life and pathway to perfection is so simple that you can actually miss it. And what do I mean by that is this: the Lord is witnessing, he's seeing everything, because inside our heart, he's inside our para-atma, which is our super soul sitting next to our own soul, our own atma, and therefore he's witnessing everything that's going on in our lives, and he's trying to give us guidance, he's trying to give us help. What do I mean by that? I'm going to explain in this next video, hopefully the last video of this series, but let's see where we go on it. Hare Krishna. Sitting inside us is in our para-atma. He's guiding us, he's witnessing everything that's going on in life, and he's trying to say, hey, back to Michael, wake up! Why are you still doing the same thing? Why are you not learning these lessons? So sometimes my lessons, they get repeated because I don't learn everything that I'm meant to learn. And as a student, we accept, okay, but I'm endeavouring to try my best, and that's the most important. Try my best and do things to my best ability, and that's all I can do, is have the right endeavour and the right attitude. But I accept I do not do things correctly sometimes, and I make mistakes. I'm using the word correctly and mistakes, but I'm not. I don't use those words in the day-to-day life, but I'm using those words in normal material life, because we think we're always making mistakes, we're having accidents, coincidences and things like that. But actually in the spiritual world, everything that we're doing serves a purpose. So there's no such thing as accidents and mistakes. Everything is part of a learning curve, so everything is purposeful. So things are happening this way because it's the only way we can learn. If we don't have the lessons as the Lord arranged them like this, then we get caught and we get stuck in life. But he just wants us to be able to progress ourselves and progress ourselves and progress ourselves. So this is what the Lord is trying to help us through. And what I hopefully am going to try to fit it into this last video now is this. It's really, really important to understand. Okay, so if you're a fruitive worker, you just live in the normal life and you don't make the Lord the centre of your life and spiritualise your life, then things are going to be very mundane and you'll stay on the same level or you'll go down. However, if you start to make the Lord the centre of your life, that means chanting his name, reading his name, listening about him, talking about him, thinking about him, feeling him, make him the centre of everything that you're doing, because the Lord actually has given me everything in my life as he's given you. Everything that we've had, this body, our family, our childhood, our adulthood, all our possessions, everything the Lord has given us. So if we start to serve him as a form of love and appreciation, let alone gratitude, then he starts to take us up onto the next level. But it's really, really important to understand this. If you set your objective in life is to get to the spiritual sphere and get to Goloka or the Vaikuntha planets, you have to be very, very careful here, because having that type of goal isn't going to necessarily get you there, and it's not necessarily get you there in the most direct path. Now, what do I mean by that? It looks like I am going to have to go on to this last video, because there is something that's very, very, very important that I must explain to you, because how we approach our spiritual life and our spiritual development is key, and this is what I'm going to explain in this final video. Our approach to transcending into the spiritual world is so, so important. You see, if I set myself this goal, I want to get to here, I want to get to the Vaikuntha planets, for instance. So I'm going to serve the Lord, I'm going to give him as much love in order to get there. But this is not what's going to happen, because actually that's not the right intention. The right intention is to have this innate feeling inside you that you've got nothing to do but to serve the Lord. But not to serve the Lord to get a result. The whole thing is, if you've got a mission, an objective to get something from the Lord in response to what you do for the Lord, this is where it all goes wrong. What we need to be able to do is to get to this point where actually all we want to do is feel like I need to serve him and serve him and serve him and serve him. And every aspect of life is serving the Lord. It's his body. It's his body that needs cleaning. It's his body that needs feeding prasadam. It's his body that needs to be looked after with medicine. It's his body that needs clean clothes on his body. It's the room that you live in needs to be a nice clean place for the Lord's body to be. And if you get to this point where everything is just about serving the Lord only because of love, just love, appreciation and gratitude, then you'll start to walk bigger steps forward. But if we do it with this objective of, I want this in return, I want to get to these Vaikuntha planets, for instance, and this is how I'm going to serve the Lord to get there, then you're going to find yourself making 2 steps forward and 1 step back. It's a little bit how Srila Prabhupada says, our founder Acharya says, that 2 for Lord, 1 for us. We've got to get to the point where everything is for the Lord. So if every step in our day, every moment of the day is something for the Lord, then that's beautiful. It's so beautiful, because then all we're doing it is to serve the Lord, not for our own personal satisfaction, not for our own greed, not for our own desires. So actually we're slowly moving beyond even the mode of goodness, because everything is just about the Lord, and only the Lord, and not for our own personal achievement, our goal in life, or where we want to get to. And on this basis, I hope I've explained this verse more clearly. I've still got lots to learn about it. Please let me know your comments. Let me know your suggestions, your understanding, and maybe we can start to walk a path that gets us closer to the most beautiful, unconditional love relationship with the Lord. Hare Krishna.